Hello, I'm Lake County Board Member Dick Barr for District 3, representing Lindenhurst, Lake Villa, Round Lake Beach, Round Lake Heights, and small portions of Antioch and Ingleside. Today is Sunday, September 1st, 2019, and in this video we're going to talk about the upcoming quadrennial reassessment and what that means for you and things that you can do to help mitigate your property tax situation. So I hope you enjoy the video. Welcome back. Again, I'm Dick Barr, Lake County Board Member for District 3. Let me start off by saying that I'm going to try to take this in one take, treat it like a live video. If I make a mistake, we'll try to move past it, unless there's a mistake that really we need to start over. So I apologize in advance for any technical glitches or challenges that we have. But I have a lot of information to cover, and want to just get through this so you can understand. Much of what we're going to talk about today is to give you a very basic and rudimentary while informative perspective into property taxes. There are a lot of factors with property taxes that are inherently confusing. So we're going to try to explain things in a way that they are just basically understandable. There are equalization factors, there are equalized assessed values, which are a third of fair market value. So we're going to try and give you this information, which is technically correct, however, by the not verbatimly correct. And what I mean by that, we're going to talk along the lines of mostly in relation to fair market value, because that's something we do all understand. I don't want to get into that extra step, which tends to be more confusing and will probably create more questions and answers. So with regard to the technical aspect of the information you're going to see today, remember, we're giving you this information based on a rudimentary understanding, which is accurate. However, the presentation will not exactly be letter of the law. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out, and I'll be more than happy for anyone who's interested to discuss at a far greater detail with much more technically accurate information. So let's start with this quadrennial reassessment. In Illinois, with the exception of Cook County, all counties reassess their properties every 4 years. That's called the quadrennial reassessment. That's the year where the elected township assessors literally reassess every single property in the county, as opposed to the off years where they look at neighborhoods as a group and then adjust up or adjust down based on the neighborhood. On that quadrennial year, they actually look at your home and they compare it to the other sales in the community to see what its actual value is, and then you are reassessed based on that number. When we do a quadrennial, especially when we're coming out of markets that have seen great increases or great decreases, we run the risk of having residents and homeowners have large increases that they're not expecting. So we want to talk about the how your properties are assessed, why they're assessed that way, and what you can expect. And I'll also be giving you information on where you can go to find out what your current assessments are or what your current fair market value is, and then use that to see if you're in a situation where you might see a considerable increase, stay basically the same, or believe it or not, in some cases they'll see a considerable decrease. So let's get started on this video I created to talk about the different factors of the property tax system. So property taxes are based on two main factors. The first factor is, of course, is how much our government spend, and that's called their levy, and those are for all the different districts on your bill. And the other portion is your portion is determined by how much your home is worth in comparison to other homes in your district. So there's a difference between income tax and property tax. In income taxes, it's a bottom-up system compared to a top-down system with property taxes. And what that means is, on income taxes, the tax collected determines how much the state will spend. Where in property taxes, how much the taxing body spends determines what your portion of the property taxes are. On income tax, the more a person makes, the more they pay. Property tax is not tied to income. On income tax, the more paid, the more the state gets to spend. And on property tax, the budgets are more predictable and fixed. So let's get into this next video where we explain tax levies and tax rates. So imagine this hypothetical school district that has a property tax levy or budget of $100,000. And in this small district, there are exactly 10 homes, all which are valued exactly the same at $200,000. So that means the total market value of the district is $2 million, the 200,000 times 10. So we divide the property tax levy by the market value to come up with a tax rate of 0.05 or 5%. So we times that rate by each of the values of the home to come up with the tax that each home owns. In this case, everyone owns the same amount of money. Now, if all of these homes went up in value from 200 to 300,000, that would increase the market value of the area, but it'll decrease the rate. So everyone still owes 10,000 because the budget for the school hasn't changed. And this also holds true if everyone's value decreases considerably. Even though their tax rate, their values went down, their tax rate stayed the same. The only time your value is going to affect your property tax paid is when your value differs than your neighbor's. When some houses go up and some houses go down, that's what creates the inequity in the property tax. So in this case, where houses are now 300, they pay 15,000, and some houses are 100, they pay only 5,000. We're going to talk a little bit right now about tax levies. So I want you to understand how your taxes are determined, or who figures out how much needs to be collected from the property taxes. So we're going to go through line item by line item on your tax bill to show you, in essence, why you're being taxed what you are for each of the different taxing bodies. So let's start right at the top with Lake County government. The Lake County government levy, so the levy, just to be clear, is the amount of money that the county is asking the property taxpayers for. Now, this doesn't represent the entire budget. There are other sources of revenue that the county has. There's federal grants, there's state grants, there's intergovernmental agreements, there's usage fees, court fees collected, fines collected. All of this represents the entire budget, but this portion right here, the levy, is how much is collected in just property taxes. To give you an example of the difference, the county budget is just over $500 million a year. Now, that includes double appropriation. What that means is money is sometimes spent twice, in the sense that there might be an agreement between two departments within county where one pays the other for services rendered. The money stays within the county, but it's counted as an expense, just as if they were to spend that money outside the county. The actual money spent out in the county was just a little bit more than $400 million a year. But of that portion, $162 million is collected from the county residents via property taxes. Residents and businesses. So let's go over these numbers. We have a levy of $162 million, and that is divided by the total value of all of the taxable property in the county. Now, in Lake County, there is $26.6 billion worth of equalized assessed value. Now again, equalized assessed value is different than fair market value. To figure out what the fair market value is, we multiply the equalized assessed value by 3. But we're not going to get into that. It's a needless level of confusion at this point. So the county takes the amount of money it needs, and it divides that by the total value of all the property in the county, and it comes to a rate. On your tax bill, you'll see this rate as a 4 or 5 digit past the decimal number. To make it a little bit easier to understand, I've converted this to cents so we can understand it a little better. So we take 162 million of budget divided by $26.6 billion of equalized assessed value, and that comes to 0.61 cents per dollar of equalized assessed value. Now in this example, that would be 0.61 cents per $3 of fair market value. But right now we're focusing on equalized assessed value, so it's per dollar. Now this isn't 61 cents per dollar, this is 0.61 cents. So that's why we have the little penny here. This is basically 6/10 of a penny per dollar of equalized assessed value. So what does this mean to you? This means that if you have a property that's worth $250,000, your tax to the county is $471. Now, if you have a property that's worth only $125,000, your tax would be about $235. But if you have a property that's worth $500,000, you'll have a tax, property tax going to the county of over $900. So Lake County government needs $162 million from you, and a home of $250,000 will pay $471. Okay, let's go to the next. The College of Lake County. They levied $71.2 million. They have a similar equalized assessed value as the whole county, because there are some portions not included in the College of Lake County levy, but they have $25.2 billion in value. So they divide 71 million divided by 25 billion to come up with 0.28 cents per dollar of EAV. So that means to you, as a owner of a $250,000 home, that you pay $216 a year to the College of Lake County. Moving on, the Forest Preserve. The Forest Preserve levies from the residents $48.4 million divided by the entire equalized value of property in Lake County, and it comes out to 0.18 cents per dollar of EAV, this small portion here. And that means to the $250,000 homeowner, $139 a year paid to the Forest Preserve. Now let's get a little bit more localized. I'm using a tax bill, by the way, for Lindenhurst. So everything that we're going to go through today is focused on one specific area of Lindenhurst. So this will differ depending on which portion of the district you live in, if you go to a different school system. But this is all based on District 41 Elementary School, Lakes High School, living in the village of Lindenhurst. So all of these sheets will be based on that. So the District 41 Elementary School, the levy that they collect from taxpayers is $24.1 million. And the equalized value of all the taxable property is $520 million. Now you see this is a smaller number. The whole county has $26.6 billion in total value, equalized value. But the smaller geography of the school district has a much smaller circle of value. So it represents only about $520 million. So they take the amount of money they need, $24.1 million, divided by the total value, and that comes to 4.63 cents per dollar of EAV. And here we go. I showed that with the 4.6 cents, graphic. So what does that mean to you? Well, on your home worth $250,000, that's $3,580 a year in taxes to the elementary school. Next we go into our high school. They've asked the community for $41.4 million. They have an equalized assessed value of $1.1 billion. High school districts tend to be much larger than elementary school districts, so it's very common to have their total EAV significantly higher. But because they have that larger district, they're able to spread those dollars amongst more homeowners, so we're only looking at 3.5 cents per dollar of EAV, or 3.5 cents compared to the 4.6 cents of the elementary school. Okay, moving on, the Fire Protection District. They levied $5.8 million from the taxpayer. The total EAV of their district is 762 million, or 0.76 cents per dollar of EAV, and the average homeowner will pay $587 a year. The library system, they also got just a little bit more than $5.5 million. Their EAV is slightly larger because they have a larger footprint than the fire district, and their EAV is 894 million. You do the math, 0.62 cents per dollar of EAV, or to the average homeowner, $479 a year. Lake Villa Road and Bridge. This is all the road maintenance in the unincorporated areas of Lake Villa Township. They needed $2.7 million from the taxpayers. Their total EAV was $894 million, or 0.37 cents per dollar of EAV, and the average homeowner will pay $286 a year. Lindenhurst Park District, they levied $1.6 million. They have a EAV of $338 million. That comes to 0.46 cents per dollar of EAV, or $355 for a $250,000 home. Lake Villa Township, they levied $1.7 million. They have an equalized assessed value of $894 million, or 0.19 cents per dollar of EAV, or $146 a year for the average homeowner. The Village of Lindenhurst, they collected $1.2 million from their residents, or 0.35 cents per dollar of EAV, or $270 on a $250,000 home. What's interesting about this, and I use this example quite frequently, a lot of times we'll see people complain about their village, and not just Lindenhurst, in any village that they live in, and you'll see a complaint, especially online in a Facebook group. They'll say, I saw a pothole in front of the store, and with all the money I pay in property taxes, or the $10,000 a year I pay in property taxes, we shouldn't have any potholes. So it's important to recognize that the villages, in almost all the cases, and not all the cases, but in many of the cases, the village portion of your tax bill is very low. And considering all the services you do get for it, you get a pretty darn good value for, or bang for your buck. Considering the villages provide you your police services, economic development, your public works, your transportation department, village administration, everything that the village does basically is all covered on one of the smallest portions of your tax bill. And compared to the distance to that service, approachability of that service, and what you get for that service, pretty good values considering about $270 a year goes to support an entire police force. And this also includes pensions. And in the case of Lindenhurst, the pension costs that are required by the state is about half of that number. So $270 does go to the village, but only about half of that goes towards operations. The other half is in pension costs. Okay, moving on. We've got a few other issues. Sanitary district. In this case, Lindenhurst Sanitary District is a very small district. This is immaterial now because Lindenhurst Sanitary District will be dissolving and consolidating into the village of Lindenhurst. State Representative Tom Weber recently sponsored a bill to have this combined, and he worked with Mayor Martirano in Lindenhurst to have this go away. So there'll be slight savings to the taxpayer, but more importantly, it'll be much more efficient. It won't have to have its own separate board. Will be completely within the control of the village, and will provide some minor savings to the taxpayer. But the taxpayer pays only $38 a year for a $250,000 home on the Lindenhurst Sanitary District. Now to compare what we have here, and I'm going to move me over just a little bit. Oops. These are one of the technical glitches I mentioned. So let me move me out of the way. There we go. So here's your property tax bill graphically. This is from 2018. If you had a $250,000 home, if you lived in Lindenhurst, now the graph will look exactly the same regardless of the value of your home. It's just that the numbers would be different. So if your home was worth half as much, these numbers would be 250, 5, there we go, 250, 500, 750, 1,000, and so on, instead of the numbers that they are. But if your home's worth $250,000 in this particular place in Lindenhurst that goes to District 41 schools and District 117 high schools, you're going to see almost these exact numbers. So you can see the sanitary district is the smallest amount, followed by the Forest Preserve, the Township, College of Lake County, Lake Villa Road and Bridge, the Village of Lindenhurst, SSA 16, which is a special service area for the water project, the Park District then, followed by Lake County, who collects just under 5% of your tax bill there, the library collecting just over 5%, the fire district, and then we jump to, of course, the schools that collect the largest portion. In this case, District 117 collecting $2,700 a year, and District 114 collecting $3,500 a year, for a combined, in this scenario, of 65% of your tax bill. Now, in District 3, the highest percentage the school gets as a portion of tax bill is in Venetian Village, and then the lowest, and the school gets the lowest portion of the tax bills in areas like Round Lake Beach, where they only get about, I believe, 63%. Venetian Village, the school takes about 73%. So schools are always the highest portion of the tax bill. It's just that the exact percentage of your tax bill will vary based on your other taxing districts that you belong to. Okay, so I'm going to go to the next video where we talk about property tax assessments and how your home is valued. The assessors value your home using a comparable sales data approach, very similar to a real estate broker would provide you a value. They compare your home with similar properties that have sold recently, and every 4 years they do a quadrennial reassessment to assess every single home. During the off years, they only adjust neighborhoods and make small adjustments, but in the quadrennial, they hit every single home. 2019 is a quadrennial year, so it's very important to talk about it now. If all values in a district go up, there's no tax change. If all values go down, there's no tax change. It's when some go up and some go down where people will see differences. In 2008, almost all properties took a major hit. They all went down. Condos and townhomes were hit especially hard. Since then, single-family homes rebounded quicker than condos and townhomes, and condos, townhomes, and lower valued areas have seen significant value recovery during the past 4 years. Homes that were worth $250 to $250 have gone up considerably, and homes that are worth $250,000 plus have seen somewhat of a decline in their values. So that's very important to understand while we talk about the quadrennial coming up. So give me 1 second here. So let's talk about this again, just a little bit more clear. Condos and townhomes, which were worth between $50,000 to $250,000, and homes in lower valued areas, have seen significant increases in the past 4 years since the last quadrennial reassessment. And what that means is many of them are assessed too low right now. And in a quadrennial reassessment year, if you're assessed too low, you're going to see a significant increase in your property tax bill. And that's not because the taxing bodies spent more. That's because your portion of, or your share of that property tax burden has increased because the value of your home has increased. We've seen in the past 4 years the condos, townhomes, and lower valued areas rise significantly, some 10%, 20%, and we've seen some 80% increases in certain areas, especially in condos and townhomes, which could have a dramatic effect on your property tax bill. So it's very important, and we're going to go over this next, it's very important for you to have an idea of what the value of your home is, as well as what the current assessment of your home is, to see if you're going to see a significant increase as a result of a change in value. Now, the opposite is true on some of the more valuable homes in areas that are $250,000 and up, especially over $300,000. The market has softened on many of those neighborhoods. So they have seen a decrease in their home's value. They've been sitting longer on the market. They've seen price reductions. And what's going to happen is because what we pay in tax doesn't determine what the tax bodies spend. It's the tax bodies spend, and then we're divided up to determine what we owe. So what we're going to see is, as some values go up, other values will go down. Now, in the middle of the market, the meat of the market, in that probably 175 to 250, you're going to see the most homeostasis. The values will probably be relatively caught up with reality for the most part. There will be some anomalies where some people with homes in that value range will see increases or decreases, but primarily the market seems to have tracked well with those homes. It's the homes on the lower end of the market will see the largest increases, and the homes on the highest end of the market will see the largest decreases, while the bulk of the properties in the middle will probably stay relatively the same. And we'll see this throughout the district. And there's parts of Avon Township in areas where the home values are lower. I think we're going to see significant increases. I've spoke with some of our township assessors to get a feel of what to expect. And while they're still completing much of the work that needs to be done, they have indicated that there will be some significant increases. So I want you to be aware of it now, because once the blue cards get mailed to you, you won't have much time to make an appeal. The appeals, the open window for appeal is only about 3 weeks. So once the blue card arrives, it would be important for you to be all prepared and ready to address it if you're going to appeal, if you're going to hire a law firm to handle the appeal for you, or if you're going to do it yourself. I want you to have as much information as possible so you're ready to do that as quickly as possible. So let's go to right here on my website, which is www.dickbarlakecounty.com. That's DICKBARR, lakecounty.com. dickbarlakecounty.com. I've tried to make the most frequently asked questions from me easily available on my website. And obviously property taxes is one of them. So if you go to the webpage, across the menu bar, you'll see a property tax menu item. There's all kinds of information here. There's generic property tax information, property tax exemption applications, which we talked about in a previous video, a primer on understanding your property tax bill, an explanation of where property taxes go, how to file your property tax exemptions online, property tax news and posts. Those are just stories that I write periodically that has to do with property taxes. And then this one right here, find your tax bill. This is where I want you to go. This will take you straight to the county's website, where you can pull up your property tax bill and determine what the assessor says your fair market value is, unless you have your copy that was mailed out in June of this year or May of this year. So you just click on Find Your Tax Bill, and that's going to take you straight to the county's website, where you can search for your property. If you know your parcel ID, you can type it in there. You can search by name. You can search by address. So you can just type your address in and click search. And that'll take you to the county site where you tell it you want your property tax bill. And I will... Let's see, let's just do this. And there we go. So you tell it, you drop down, you go to 2018, you tell it you want a tax bill, and you click go, and it'll take about 15 to 30 seconds because it's actually generating the tax bill in the background. The old system had every tax bill as a PDF stored in the system, whereas this one actually generates the tax bill live. So when you pull that information, it's always pulling up the most recent information on the most recent tax bill. And then this will come up and generate the tax bill. And I'm going to show you where to look for your fair market value. Actually, what I can do here is I have an example one right here. Okay, and if you're looking at the tax bill, in the bottom right corner, right here, where it lists all your taxes, the very top line of that, it says fair market value. And in this example, of course, it says $250,000. So regardless of what the assessed value is, which is a third of your fair market value, you're looking to find out what is the value of what the assessor thinks your value is of the home. And why that's important is because you want to make sure that the home is valued what the assessor says it is. If your home you believe is worth less than what the assessor says it is, you definitely want to file an appeal. Now, you used to be able to go to a real estate broker and ask them to help you do an appeal. But about 10 years ago, they changed the law where only an attorney can do that appeal for you, or you can do it yourself. So you can do your own appeal, which is very easy to do, or you have to hire an attorney to do it for you. I'm going to show you on the website. Let's go back. So if you go back to my website, the dickbarr.lakecounty.com, and you can click on Lake County Property Tax Appeals, and you can click on that. And on that page, there's a ton of information for you to read through. And once you've read it and understood it, you can just click here on the left where it says Online Appeals, and that'll take you straight to the Chief County Assessment Officer's website, where you will be able to start the process for an online appeal. Now, the appeals are not open yet because the blue cards are not out. You can only appeal the assessment, and you won't know what those assessments are until the blue cards come out. But once those have come out, this site will be active for you to start the process for an appeal. Now, the assessors do recommend that before you file an official appeal, what you should do is contact your local county assessor. And your local county assessor will depend on which township you live in. So if you live in Lake Villa Township, you would contact the Lake Villa Township Assessor. If you live in Avon Township, you'd contact the Avon Township Assessor. And you can talk to them first as the first level of contact to see if there's just a simple mistake that can use an easy correction that doesn't need a full appeal to the Board of Review. So definitely recommend that. If you would like information on where to find those assessors, on my page, you click on Property Tax Information. And when that loads, right here where it says contact your Township Assessor's Office, I've included all the Township Assessors for the District 3 townships, which include Lake Villa, Avon, and Antioch. So you just call their number, set up an appointment, or you could even stop in and you can talk to, if the assessor is not available, you can talk to someone at the front desk that might be able to help you as well. So I know it was a ton of information. I hope it was useful to you. And like I said before, if you want more information or you want clarification on anything we discussed, please, I'd like you to reach out and let me know. I'm always available to have conversations. I love this part of what I do. With my real estate background, I know a lot about property taxes and ways to help you understand the process, and in some cases, for you to do something about your property tax bill. So you could always visit me online at www.dickbarlakecounty.com. I'm on Twitter at Dick Barr LC Board, but I'll be honest, I don't use Twitter very much. Twitter just kind of echoes my Facebook feed, which I'm very active on. You can contact me on Facebook at Dick Barr Lake County. Of course, you could email me at dbar@lakecountyil.gov. And if you want to sign up for my newsletter, you can text Lake Bar followed by your email address to 468-311. Again, that's you text Lake Bar to 468-311, and that was followed by your email address to sign up for the newsletter. I do a newsletter every 2 to 4 weeks, have all kinds of information on the goings on in the county, and often links to more of these videos that I do to help keep you informed. However, I will say probably the best way to get the most up-to-date and relevant information is on my Facebook page, which is at Dick Barr Lake County. I highly recommend you visit that page and like it, so you can keep up to date on these issues as they come up. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed the video. I do apologize for it to go so long, but it is a very complex situation that I do believe is very important for you all to understand. So thanks so much, and as always, I want to say no tax dollars were harmed in the creation of this video. I use all my own tools, all my own equipment, all my own software, and I do all my own research, and I don't use any staff time to present this. So that's it. I just wanted to give a plug. So thanks so much. Enjoy your Labor Day weekend, and if you have any questions, please reach out. Thanks, and have a great day.